Let's take a listen.
I need to see Shedeur when they're going to give him a chance. And by that, I mean they have to tell him he's starting on Monday. Like, it's not going to happen anytime soon. I get it. But you got the Patriots, then the bye week. I was told by two different sources yesterday at the stadium. I was told by two different sources. One said Shedeur, Chris, will start the last 4 games of the season no matter what. Unless the Browns win every game through the Titans week, Shedeur will play the Bears, Bills, Steelers, and Bengals. They want to see what he's got. Another person said he could be in play earlier than that.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. I'm not gonna lie. When Tony Rizzo dropped that bomb, my stomach flipped like it was 4th and goal in January. You don't hear a Cleveland lifer go on air and say he's heard it from 2 different people inside the building unless there's real smoke. And if there's smoke in Berea, it's usually because somebody's been trying to smother a fire. The second those words left his mouth, Shedeur Sanders, last 4 games, maybe sooner, the whole "we're steady at quarterback" illusion just shattered. Boom. Gone. Everything Stefanski's been selling, calm room, clear plan, no controversy, evaporated in one segment. And you could feel the fan base snap awake like we've been gaslit all month. Because let's be honest, fans aren't dumb. We saw the Wildcat in the red zone. We saw the play calling turn 2008 overnight. We watched wideouts win routes and stare back at the sideline like, what are we doing? And then Rizzo connects the dots we were tiptoeing around. There's a plan, and it's not the one they keep repeating at the podium. You don't line up an audition block in December for a rookie if you truly believe your current guy is the answer. You don't. Not in this league. Not with this defense. That's not stability. That's stall tactics until you can make the switch with cover. The second the clip hit X, my timeline detonated. Brown's Twitter went full courtroom. Timestamps, drive charts, cut-ups, reporters threading quotes against coach speak. Some people celebrated. Finally a pulse, a future, a reason to watch Sundays without wincing. Others were livid. Why hide it? Why play keep away with hope? Why make the locker room carry a secret plan like extra weight? And then there were the players' likes, the sub-tweets, the no comment, face impressors that says more than words. You can feel it through the screen, tension humming through the facility like a refrigerator motor at 3 a.m. Everyone hears it, nobody says it, until Rizzo did. Here's why it's massive. This isn't just about a quarterback change. This is about trust. If your head coach is preaching patience while quietly mapping out the handoff to a rookie in the final stretch, you've got a messaging problem, a leadership problem, a belief problem. And when belief wobbles in the NFL, you start calling plays to avoid disaster instead of calling plays to win. That's how you end up yanking the ball from your QB at the goal line and praying the running back can play hero. That's how a city that's waited its whole life for a real answer starts feeling that old familiar dread again. But there's another side to this, and it's why I can't sit still. If the leak is true, the Browns just circled a date on the calendar for a pivot that could change the next 5 years. 4 games. Bears, Bills, Steelers, Bengals. That's not a courtesy glance, that's a referendum. On the pick, on the plan, on the head coach, Stefanski has built his reputation on being composed, measured, clinical. Fine, but this is Cleveland. We can smell conviction. We can smell fear. We know the difference. So yeah, tonight feels historic. The air changed. The room got honest. And if the front office is really ready to turn the page, then the clock on Kevin Stefanski's legacy just started ticking louder. Because after a leak like this, there's no more hiding behind "we'll evaluate." We just did. And now the real question begins. Where does Shedeur actually fit in this roster, this scheme, this depth chart? Let's talk about that next. You can feel it the moment Gabriel steps under center. The energy just dies. No urgency, no spark. Just that quiet, cautious style that screams, "Don't mess up." And for a while that worked in college. It kept him clean. It made him look efficient. But this isn't Oregon anymore. And it sure as hell isn't Saturday football. This is the NFL, where safe doesn't win games. It buries you slowly. 71 attempts, 0 touchdowns. Let that sink in. You could hand the ball off 71 times and trip into the end zone once by accident. Yet here we are, watching an offense designed to protect its quarterback instead of letting him lead. When you're calling plays like they're glassware, delicate, limited, handled with caution, that's not trust. That's survival mode. And you saw it against Miami. Red zone, crowd roaring, perfect moment to test your guy. Instead, Stefanski dusts off a play that should have been left in a museum. The Wildcat. They literally took the ball out of Gabriel's hands and gave it to a running back because the head coach couldn't stomach another failed throw inside the 5. When's the last time we saw that? Joshua Cribbs? That's 2 decades ago. 2. That's not creativity. That's desperation disguised as nostalgia. And let's talk about the locker room, because players can smell this stuff before we do. Jerry Jeudy's face on the sideline said everything. 17 yards on 2 catches, walking off shaking his head like, what am I even doing here? That's not just frustration. That's doubt creeping in. When your playmakers start losing faith, the whole structure starts to crack. You can't fake belief in a quarterback. It shows up in how hard guys block, how crisp routes look, how the huddle breathes between snaps. And right now, the Browns' huddle looks tense, not united. You think those leaks came out of nowhere? No. This is what happens when a locker room knows the truth before the coach admits it. Whispers start. Sources inside the building start talking because everyone's tired of pretending. You can't keep selling, we're confident in Dylan, when you're dialing up gadget plays from the Stone Age. You can't preach faith when your eyes keep darting toward the rookie every time practice ends. And honestly, I get it. Gabriel's not a villain. He's a bridge. A guy caught between what the Browns wanted and what they're afraid to try. But when your bridge starts cracking this early, you don't keep walking. You turn around, you find another path. And that's exactly why the Shadur Sanders rumors are heating up. Because behind closed doors, players talk, coaches whisper, and everyone knows what's really happening. Dylan Gabriel's not leading the ship. He's patching it. And that patch is starting to peel. The offense feels stuck. The fan base feels lied to. And Stefanski? He looks like a man watching the walls close in. The sad part is, this could have been different. They could have let him play free, take risks, learn through mistakes. Instead, they boxed him in. And in doing so, they exposed exactly what this franchise fears most. The truth. That Dylan Gabriel isn't the guy. He never was. And now the whole locker room knows it. So the question isn't whether Gabriel's still the starter. It's how much longer Stefanski can pretend he is. Because when the head coach starts reaching for ancient playbooks and veterans start side-eyeing the sideline, you don't just have a quarterback problem anymore. You've got a leadership one. And that's where this story starts to turn ugly. Because if Stefanski doesn't fix this soon, that locker room silence is about to turn into something way louder. And it's not going to be chance for Dylan Gabriel. It's going to be the name everyone's whispering already. Shedeur. Every time Kevin Stefanski steps to that podium, I already know what's coming. That calm voice, that poker face, that same recycled line. We're evaluating everything. We've heard it so many times it doesn't even sound like English anymore. It's coach speak on autopilot. We're evaluating, we're monitoring, we're pretending, and that's exactly what this feels like. A long, drawn-out performance where everyone in the room knows the truth, except the man holding the mic. Stefanski's trying to sell control while the building behind him is catching fire. You can hear it in his tone. That tightness when someone mentions Shadur Sanders' name. That half smile that tries to hide frustration. It's not confidence anymore. It's cover-up. Because think about it. This is the same coach who just ran a Wildcat offense at the goal line. You don't pull out a formation from the prehistoric era unless you've run out of faith in your quarterback. You don't yank the ball from your QB in the red zone unless you've already made up your mind. But when reporters ask the obvious question, "Coach, do you still believe in Dylan Gabriel?" He gives that same robotic answer. "We like what Dylan brings. We're always evaluating. We have confidence in our room. No emotion, no clarity, just smoke and mirrors." And maybe that used to work. Maybe 3 years ago, when this team still believed in the process, you could shrug off those answers and call it leadership. But not anymore. Not after another lost season, another quarterback controversy, another fan base running out of patience. Cleveland's been through this movie too many times to pretend it's new. From Baker to Deshaun to Joe Flacco to now Dylan Gabriel. It's the same script with different actors, the same false starts, the same broken promises. You can feel the tension building. The locker room senses it. The media's pressing harder. Fans are reading between the lines. And through it all, Stefanski just keeps playing the same role. Calm, unshaken, untouchable. But that calm isn't leadership anymore. It's denial. Because here's the truth. This isn't just about a quarterback competition. This is about identity. What kind of team do the Browns even want to be? Are they the gritty, ground-and-pound unit their defense deserves? Or are they the modern, dynamic offense they keep pretending to be? Right now, they're neither. They're stuck in limbo, half building, half burying themselves week after week. And at the center of it all stands a head coach who refuses to pick a lane. He's protecting the status quo when what Cleveland needs is conviction, a decision, a direction, something real. But instead, we get silence. We get patience speeches. We get "we're evaluating." And that's the cruel irony, because while Stefanski's still evaluating, the rest of the league is moving forward. Teams like Houston, Detroit, and even Green Bay took bold steps with their young quarterbacks and found identity in the chaos. Cleveland? We're still pretending we've got time. This isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore. It's an identity crisis. And until Kevin Stefanski stops hiding behind that microphone and starts standing for something, this franchise will keep spinning in the same circle. New faces, same story, same heartbreak. And the scariest part? The silence is getting louder. You can feel it, the air shifting. The noise around Shedeur Sanders isn't just hype anymore. It's momentum. It's that calm before the storm moment, when everyone pretends they don't see it coming, but deep down, they know. The kid's ready. You can see it in the way he carries himself, the way he looks unbothered by all the noise swirling around him. That quiet confidence? That's not arrogance. That's preparation meeting opportunity. Because let's not forget, this isn't some wide-eyed rookie stumbling into the spotlight. This is Shadur Sanders, the same quarterback who stood toe-to-toe with college football's blue bloods under one of the brightest spotlights we've ever seen. Coach Prime's Colorado. Every week was chaos. Every week was noise. And through it all, the kid never flinched. He got sacked, he got hit, he got doubted, and he still stood tall in the pocket like he was built for it. That's what Cleveland needs. Someone who doesn't break when the pressure hits. Someone who's lived under scrutiny and learned how to turn it into fuel. See, Shedeur doesn't just throw the ball. He commands a game. His footwork's polished. His mechanics are clean. His accuracy under pressure, that's Sunday level already. Watch the tape. His release is quick, compact, efficient, like he's been studying pros his whole life. And maybe that's because he has. Being Deion Sanders' son doesn't make you gifted. It makes you expected. Every move he's ever made came with eyes watching, waiting, judging. That kind of upbringing doesn't just build skill. It builds skin thick enough to handle Cleveland weather and Cleveland criticism. And here's where it gets poetic. Rizzo's leak wasn't chaos. It was confirmation. You can't keep a player like Shedeur hidden forever. You can't cage composure, not when the whole team's looking for something to believe in. You can feel the Browns' locker room starving for direction, for identity, for a voice that doesn't crack under pressure. And when a young QB walks in with calm energy, it spreads. Leaders don't have to scream. Sometimes they just stand tall when everyone else is panicking. That's Shedeur. That's the antidote to everything Cleveland's been missing. And look, I get it. People are scared of rushing a rookie. But let's be real, you don't learn to swim standing on the shore. The only way Shedeur becomes who he's meant to be is by playing. By facing the blitz, by throwing that first interception and coming right back with a touchdown. The kid's wired for it. We saw it in Boulder, the fourth quarter comebacks, the 2-minute drills, the leadership when the line collapsed. He's not built for practice fields. He's built for moments. That's why I'm calling it right now. This isn't a controversy anymore. This is a transition. This is the calm before Cleveland's storm. Rizzo's leak didn't start a fire. It exposed the one that's already been burning under the surface. Shadur Sanders is ready, and everyone inside that building knows it. The question isn't if he takes over, it's when. And when he does, the league's going to feel it, because every era starts the same way. Quiet, doubted, disrespected. Then one Sunday, a kid walks onto the field, adjusts his wristband, and changes everything. And I'm telling you right now, Shedeur's moment is coming. It's not hype. It's not coincidence. It's destiny knocking on the door in Cleveland. And when he finally answers, this league better be ready. This is it. The line in the dirt. The stretch that could redefine everything we know about the Cleveland Browns. 4 games, 4 chances, and 1 rookie quarterback standing at the edge of destiny. Bears, Bills, Steelers, Bengals. Each matchup, a test. Each Sunday, a statement. You don't get moments like this often in the NFL, the kind that can flip a franchise's entire story in less than a month. But that's exactly what's in front of Shadur Sanders. Let's start with Chicago. It's poetic, really. The first opponent in this rumored 4-game stretch is a team that's also been starving for identity. 2 franchises, both chasing the same thing, belief. If Shadur gets the nod there, that's where we'll see the spark. The first throw, the first touchdown, the first breath of life back into a fan base that's been running on fumes. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Because the moment that kid completes a 3rd down strike in front of that home crowd, Cleveland's going to feel it in its bones. Then comes Buffalo, the real test, a defense built to expose inexperience, a stadium that eats young quarterbacks alive. But if you've watched Shedeur's tape, you know he doesn't flinch when the lights get hot. He locks in. He's surgical. If he can stand tall in that chaos, if he can make plays in a game like that, we're no longer talking about potential. We're talking about proof. Week 3 of the stretch, Pittsburgh. The rivalry, the noise, the history. Browns versus Steelers has never just been football. It's personal, emotional, generational. Imagine the scene. A rookie quarterback walking into that cauldron with everything on the line. A city watching, doubters waiting. If Shedeur walks out of that game with a win, Cleveland won't just believe, it'll unite. Because there's something different about beating Pittsburgh. It means you belong. And then the finale, Cincinnati, the Battle of Ohio. Joe Burrow on one sideline, the rookie on the other. It's the kind of matchup that could define a decade if things go right. The established star versus the heir apparent. The moment where Shadur Sanders could plant the flag and say, we're done rebuilding, we're here now. That's the turning point, not just for him, but for Kevin Stefanski, for this entire organization. Because if Shedeur delivers, Stefanski saves his job. If he flops, the whole front office goes down with him. That's how high the stakes are. But here's what gives me hope. You can't fake presence. You can't fake composure. And everything about Shadur Sanders screams ready. Ready to command, ready to lead, ready to prove that Cleveland isn't cursed. Just waiting for the right leader. 4 games, 4 proving grounds, 4 chances to rewrite decades of heartbreak. So let me leave you with this. If Shadur Sanders steps onto that field, that might be the moment Cleveland stops being a circus and starts becoming a movement. Years from now, people will look back and say, that's where it began. That's where belief was reborn. The only question left is simple. Where were you when the Sanders era began?